Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be checking out the Iron and Resin Nautilus jacket. Now Iron and Resin did send me this as a sample for review, but all the opinions in this video are mine and mine alone. I did not share this content with Iron and Resin prior to publication. They will see this when you do. In addition to that, there are affiliate links in the description box down below. If you're considering buying this jacket or any other product from Iron and Resin, please consider using those links. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but I do earn a small commission from those sales, and all the money goes back to the channel, help me produce more content so consumers can make informed purchasing decisions. So this is the perfect time of year to wear an N1 style deck jacket because these are really warm, and when it is 6 degrees with a wind chill of -3, you want and need a very warm jacket, and that is where the Nautilus has come in. Since I got the Nautilus in the same package as the Iron Resin Cruiser, I've kind of been wearing those two interchangeably depending upon the temperature. Colder days, Nautilus; warmer days, Cruiser. It's, I think, 21 out there right now, so I probably will toss on the Nautilus, but that's about, I think, my border where I will wear the Cruiser down into like the low 20s depending upon what layer I'm wearing underneath it. But once it gets down into the teens, those singles with those minus wind chills, I'm definitely going with the Nautilus. And again, perfect time of year because an N1 deck jacket is for really cold temperatures. I think I dove into this in a different N1 deck jacket, but the Cliff's Notes version is, the N1 deck jacket is a navy style coat. This is a modernized version of it. They didn't come in wax, they're more of a Bedford cord material, which is still very water repellent, but they were made with a nice beefy zipper and a big storm flap that usually used buttons instead of metal snaps, because they were used on Navy warships. And when you're out on the ocean, sorry, little Timmy, I knocked him over. When you're out on the ocean, you have a lot of salt water blowing around in the breeze, very cold and very caustic. So a nice beefy zipper was needed to make sure the jacket didn't bust open. And then they used buttons instead of metal snaps because the salt water would corrode the metal. You would have the storm flap buttoned over your zipper to protect that zipper. Otherwise, you could basically get locked inside your jacket because the salt water would corrode the zipper and you'd be stuck inside the jacket. So the modern version, waxed shell, and we have these metal snaps, which work out great because I'm not going to be wearing this on a Navy ship or out in the middle of the ocean, so I don't have to worry about salt water in the air, making my my metal snap buttons kind of more or less rust and freeze shut where I'm locked inside my jacket. Also, we do have our cuffs, which is kind of tucked away. We do have an elastic cuff that is underneath the actual shell, so it's protected. You still have durability because you want a nice tight cuff to keep that wind from coming up your sleeve, but you also want to protect it because this is one of the, I guess, more abrasive areas of your jacket that can wear out quicker, so it is usually tucked under the actual cuff of the jacket to protect it and give you some more longevity. Now, wax, again, not a traditional material for an N1 Navy deck jacket, but with this, it does make it a bit more weatherproof because the wax is going to shed any of that snow when it's freezing cold and snowing. Also going to be a lot better in the rain. So let's start with the one negative I have with this jacket, which you can kind of see here, and that is that you can see all of the fuzz on the wax of this jacket. And right here, it isn't as bad as it was after I first got it. I did take a lint roller to this and I got a lot of that fuzz off, but because it is wax and it is a darker wax material, a lot of that fuzz is going to stick to it. And mostly what this fuzz is the shearling from the jacket. You're getting a lot of that sticking to the jacket itself. So when I did take that lint roller, I went over the entire shell, and I also ran it over the inside and the collar of the jacket to try to get some of that off. Now, you're not going to get all of it off. It's absolutely impossible to do so, but I think I did mitigate it a little bit, and it does show because it's sticking directly to the wax, and this is a darker wax material. So the only real negative I have with this is the darker wax is certainly going to pick up all of the lint and the fuzz, and some of that is from the jacket's own lining itself. So you're going to have a trade-off with that because it's just going to happen. It's inevitable. You can't get around it. Next, I have one point of note about this jacket. Is that the fact that it uses these big, beefy Talon zippers. Now, Talon zippers are great. These things are basically indestructible. I have had these on vintage jackets where the jacket has fallen apart, but the zipper continues to work even after the actual structure of the jacket falls apart. But the point of note here is that these can be a bit finicky. It's not just on the Nautilus jacket, this is every Talon zipper I have ever used. They are so big, they are so beefy that they don't really flex, so when you're trying to zipper them, sometimes the zipper will get hung up and you have to work the zipper to get it up. And that is because it has these big, thick metal teeth, so they don't really flex the way a cheaper metal or a plastic zipper will, so sometimes you do have to work the teeth to get the zipper to go up. But the trade-off here is that these Talon zippers, they're basically going to last you the rest of your life. If you have a plastic zipper, eventually those teeth are going to snap and fall off, and then your zipper is useless. A thinner metal zipper, you can bend those teeth very easily, and sometimes if you're trying to bend them back so you can zipper and unzipper the jacket, you can actually break those teeth off. I have never had a Talon zipper fail on me. I've never had a zipper pull come off. I've never had a tooth bend or fall off or break. These things are essentially indestructible. I have one of my favorite jackets. It doesn't fit me anymore because I've put on a few pounds over the years. It is a vintage leather jacket from the 70s. It has a Talon zipper. The zipper still to this day works flawlessly. That jacket is over 50 years old. I have had to sew that leather jacket back together so many times at this point, but the zipper I have never had an issue with. And again, at this point, it is over 50 years old. So yes, you might have to work with the zipper to get the zipper pull to come up, but it's going to last you forever. You don't have to worry about it breaking. And for a point of reference, I am 5'9", roughly 175 to 180 pounds, a 42.5-inch chest over a t-shirt, and I am wearing the Nautilus in a size extra large. Now, some of the positives of this jacket, and we're going to get the big one out of the way right up top, the price point. The wax version of this jacket comes in at $369 USD. And honestly, that is a pretty fair price. The closest to quality construction and craftsmanship that I can find would be the Triple Aught Design N1 deck jacket that comes in at $400 USD. Then you'll have the Real McCoys that comes in at $845 USD, followed by the Ironheart that comes in at $995 USD, and the Dayhen that comes in at $1,295 USD. And yes, there are plenty of other brands that will make an N1 deck jacket that will come in far under $369, and there are other brands that will come in over that $1,295. So the spectrum is huge on this, but if you are looking for a quality, well-constructed jacket, I would say that this is a very, very fair price point for an N1 deck jacket. So now that we got the price point out of the way, some of the other things that I really like about this jacket are the two-way zipper, which is really nice if you have to sit down while wearing this jacket. Because it is cinched in a little at the waist, it can be a little tight when you sit down. So what you would do is unzipper the bottom zipper tab, and it will let the jacket flay out a little bit, so it will go out over your lap, giving you more room so it's more comfortable to sit in it. Next up would be the lined hand warmer pockets. Now, for a warm heavyweight jacket, you will most certainly want a lined hand warmer pocket. These are great, and especially because this is a wax jacket and you'll be wearing this in some pretty cold temperatures, you do not want to be putting your hands in your pocket, even a gloved hand, with a waxed front and back, because that will just make it a very chilly experience. The lining inside these pockets are very nice when you stick a gloved or ungloved hand in there, so I do really appreciate that. Next up, we have our gusseted shoulders, which will give you a full range of motion, especially because this is a pretty thick, well-insulated padded jacket. Sometimes that does take up a lot of the internal space of the jacket, and it does restrict the movement. But these gusseted shoulders do give me the extra range of motion that I would need if I'm wearing something like the Iron and Resin windchill shawl underneath, because it is a very cold day. I will definitely be bundled, so the gusseted shoulders will still allow me to move, especially trying to drive my car. I can get my hands up under the steering wheel and have a full range of motion to not crash while I'm driving. And when that ice cold wind is whipping, I have this nice synthetic alpaca fur lined collar that I can flip up, so I now have the nice soft warm collar against my bare neck, and that wax shell is really going to work as a windbreak to keep that icy cold wind from coming down the back of my jacket and freezing me to the bone. Now, the body of this jacket is a synthetic Sherpa line, and we do have 3 different pocketing options in here. We have a zipper closure pocket on the left chest, a snap closure pocket on the right chest, and then we also have this other smaller little pocket that you could probably stick something like a knife in, or, you know, if you want to go old school, toss a pager in there, because yeah, that reminded me of the old pager pockets that used to be on jackets in the 90s. The sleeves of this jacket are polyline, which will allow you to slide those heavier weight flannels or sweaters in and out of these sleeves much more easily. If it was also a Sherpa line, you would be creating a lot of friction, and then your sleeves would bunch up and it would just be uncomfortable. Now let's talk about the fit, feel, and finish. Once again, this is the wax version of the jacket. I believe they do make it in an olive that is a Bedford cord version. So the wax jacket is going to be a little bit more stiff, at least at first. This is my experience. I've had a lot of wax jackets. Over time, that wax will break in. It will become a lot more pliable, and it will flex a lot easier on the body. But initially, yes, this is a wax jacket. It is a heavily lined wax jacket, so it's going to be a little bit bulky. Now, I don't find this to be incredibly stiff. I have had other wax jackets that are far less lined that were much more stiff than this. So overall, I think the initial fit, just be aware that it is a waxed version, so it will be a little bit stiffer, especially with that heavier lining, but I don't think it's anything that's going to be too restrictive or make you not want to wear the jacket. I think overall the size extra large was a very good size for me in this. Again, 175 to 180. I find this to fit me well over just a button-down shirt, that be it a mid or heavyweight flannel, or something a little bit heavier like the Iron and Resin windchill shawl, which is the heaviest sweater that I now own, and I still have a full range of motion. It still fits good, and it doesn't look bulky if I'm wearing it over a heavier layer, or sloppy if I'm wearing it over a smaller layer. So the fit, feel, and finish I think is pretty solid for this jacket. But ultimately, do I think that the wax version of the Iron Resin Nautilus is worth $369 USD? Yeah, I do. I think it's a really good jacket. I've now worn this down to 6 degrees with a wind chill of -3 and been fine. The only thing that was cold were my fingertips and my nose, and that's my own fault because I wasn't wearing a schmog, scarf, or buff. But it's kept me warm in really cold temperatures. It's comfortable enough to wear. Yes, the shell is wax, so it's a little stiffer at first, but it's breaking in really quick. And again, not the stiffest wax canvas that I have ever had, and this is very heavily lined, so it's not an issue at all, really, for me. They do make a Bedford cord version that I believe comes in at $279, so you can save yourself $90 and get the Bedford cord version. But I like wax, and I think the wax is really good, and I think it's a middle-of-the-road price point. I mean, there's jackets that are going to cost far more. I'm sure there's plenty of jackets that'll cost less, but you're getting a quality, durable garment for this price point. It's wax. It's going to be good in the weather, that be it snow or rain. It's working down to negative wind chill degree temperatures, and it will get even colder this year, and this will be the jacket I'll be wearing. And overall, I think the styling, it fits in. I work in an office building, and I do everything that a normal everyday dad would do with my kids and my family, so I can wear this in just about any setting and fit in just fine. Also, I can wear this when it's really cold and not freeze to death. So I think the price point is really fair for what you're getting. So there we have it. I hope this video helped you in your buying decision just a little bit. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Smash that big red button and ring that bell right next to it so you get notifications the next time I post a brand new video. Good night.